Hi everyone, it's Liz here again. I thought I would follow on from yesterday's Facebook Live and talk to you a little bit about the reasons why your child might be struggling to learn. If you remember yesterday, we talked about the fact that children will often say they're struggling to learn, that you can align with other educators to help you to discover what your child is finding hard. And on top of that, you can then start looking through the curriculum documents at where your child should be, and then of course you need to take action. But today I want to talk to you about what it is that might be stopping your child from learning as the other children in their classrooms are. So there are basically, I call it my 5+1 rule. And these are the 5 things I want you to focus on. The first one is visual processing. So this is where the eyes see things on the page as your and my eyes would. But when the information that's coming from the eyes goes into the back of the brain, there is actually a bit of confusion. So there may be some eye strain occurring, there may be some fatigue occurring, but there may also be some distortion occurring. And this creates a lot of additional stress for a child, and we can call that visual processing difficulties, visual processing deficits. There's another name for it based on Helen Erlen, who did lots of research in this area, called scotopic sensitivity and Erlen syndrome, so you can Google that as well. So we're looking at the children who might be rubbing their eyes, pulling books further away and from their faces. They might be looking at the page for a while and then it all seems too much and they might start looking out the window. They might know that they're seeing things on the page that others aren't and they think they're flawed, something's wrong with them. But basically, this is where the flipping of letters can come in. Long after that's fairly normal, so after the age of say 6 or 7 in the reading process. So these are the children and the teens and the adults for whom those distortions continue. So that is called a visual processing difficulty, and that is definitely a reason why children can struggle to learn. Number 2 is phonological processing. Now this is the one that many of the dyslexia associations, many of the reading groups out there, they just really hone in on, and this is because this is their area of expertise. They don't have a great deal of knowledge about the other areas, so they just constantly bang on about phonics. But phonics is super important, and it's the ability to understand the sound system code of the English language. Now we know the English language has 26 letters. I say it's got 46 sounds, 20 vowel sounds and 16 consonant sounds. Actually, that's the other way around, I think. No, that's right. And basically, we say that if you don't understand the way those sounds are represented by the letters in the English language, it can actually cause a lot of stress for children because they will struggle to learn to read, they will struggle to learn to spell, and they'll struggle to retain the spelling that they know. So I'll talk to you a little bit more about phonics because that is a really important one, but it's well and truly covered by lots of different evidence-based phonics programs out there. Now, the other one that comes up time and time again that can be stopping a child from learning at school is auditory processing. Now, schools are full of sound. Our life is full of sound, so much more sound than we have ever known before. We have got constant devices playing videos, we've got music, we've got the sound of people moving around us, we've got public transport, we've got the sounds of machinery, we've got the sounds of traffic, we've got the sounds of just foot traffic from people going around us and moving around us. All of this can create auditory processing difficulties. Now again, your ears can be working perfectly. I always recommend going and getting a proper sight check and a proper hearing check, but there's another level of hearing check you can get, and it's called a auditory processing check, and that's where they test the sounds that's going through both the left ear and the right ear into the parts of those brain, the parts of your brain, that hear and process sound. So auditory processing difficulties is definitely something to look at if you have a child, a teen or an adult struggling with learning. The next one on my list is memory. Now, memory is a big one, and memory deficits can come from many different places. I wonder if you've heard of fetal alcohol syndrome. That is an area that can cause memory issues. Global learning delays can cause memory issues. There's different types of memory. There's visual memory, there's auditory memory, there is working memory where we're thinking and doing at the same time. Think of learning a dance routine or learning how to drive a car or to play a piano. That is all working memory where we are thinking and doing things at the same time. Very important for our schoolwork, particularly in areas where we have to process information and create answers or answer questions or do algorithms or those types of things. So memory is an area that we can certainly get looked at. So we have covered visual processing, auditory processing, phonological processing, memory. I'm about to compete with a chainsaw. The other area you need to look at is executive function. Now, executive function is the ability for your brain to think and organize yourself. So it might be about organizing spaces. It might be about organising tasks. It might be about being somewhere on time. It might be about packing your school bag. It might be about planning an essay. It might be about being a project manager on a task or organising a debate. This is executive function. This is the ability to plan projects, to plan things that you're doing. It's actually really quite complicated, and I've given you a very quick overview of it, but you get the general gist. So think about your child maybe struggling in that area as well. Now, I always have a +1, and my +1 is processing rate. So processing rate is generally the speed at which a child can complete a task. So this is where timed written essays and exams and tests really put our children who struggle with learning at a disadvantage, because they will often be slow processors. This does not mean they are any less intelligent than anybody else in their school classroom. All it means is they take longer to get to an answer. Their answer might be better, their answer might be more complex, their answer might have different layers of thought process put into it. They may just take longer to join the dots to come up with the answer, but they will invariably be a slow processor. So slow processing is definitely a reason why teachers need to allow children time to answer questions in their classrooms. They need to provide time, things like mental maths and tables races and spelling bees. These things are really difficult for children who have slow processing rates, and that's my +1. So always consider the slow processing rate. So there you have it. There is my 5+1. Visual processing, phonological processing, auditory processing, memory deficits, executive function, plus slow processing rates. I hope that's been really helpful for you. There are definitely some areas you need to explore if you have a child who is struggling to learn. I am standing against this most beautiful blossom tree. If you can see it, it is just phenomenal. It has all these different colours in the same blossom on the same tree, and every year I wait for it to come out, and every year I just love filming quick videos with it in the background because it's so beautiful. Hope you are having a great day. It's warmed up a little bit in Melbourne, but it is still incredibly cool and a bit rainy today, but it sort of feels a little bit tropical as well. So I am all for bringing on the summer, and I hope my tree behind me lasts a few more days because it's absolutely stunning. Have a great day, everybody, and I will see you again next time. Bye for now.